All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
Welcome to Colts Law, another edition today talking about the Indianapolis Colts, myself and Colts Loyalist. How's your day going, Loyalist?
Awesome. The weather's been perfect. The family's perfect. Getting ready to talk about some football. Perfect day as far as I see it.
Absolutely. I love talking football. So today we have a nice, interesting topic that I want to bring up, and that's predicting the Indianapolis Colts run defense in 2020. Because last year, the Indianapolis Colts had one of the best run defenses in the NFL. They were number 2 overall, behind only the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we're not just talking about rush yards. Yes, they were number 2 in rush yards behind the Bucs, only allowing 1,448 yards rushing for the entire season. But they were also number 2 in yards per carry, which is a huge number. That's something that most people are going to look at and go, okay, that's a sign of a legit run D, because just because you have less yards doesn't mean nothing if teams just weren't running on you, but running on you well when they did. They didn't run on them very much because they could not run on them very well. They only allowed 3.7 yards per carry, much like, Tampa Bay, who was number 1 at 3.6. So last year, the Colts run D was led by some pretty darn good run stoppers, right? I mean, we got some safeties that can come in and help when they need to. The cornerbacks are really good at sealing off their edge, getting around blockers outside. Our linebackers were incredibly good between Bobby Okereke, Anthony Walker Jr., and of course Darius Leonard. And then our front four, our defensive line was great. We had Justin Houston on one end, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and then Denico Autry on the other. But the Colts, they're lacking 3 major key components from last year's front 7, and that's Justin Houston, Denico Autry, and most important, the aforementioned Anthony Walker Jr. How big of an impact is losing Walker Jr. going to be this year when it comes to the run defense?
Yeah, I'm. This is one that, as soon as I heard, I knew it was coming and stuff, but I would say this one stung. Between losing Anthony Walker and then also on top of that losing Denico Autry, those were 2 very important pieces to the run game. So I sort of think that we might fall off a little bit, but I don't believe that we're going to fall off of a cliff. I believe that, our rookies, I think, like Kwity Paye, is going to be, I don't want to say excellent, but I think that that's going to be what the rookies seem to pick up and switch whenever they switch from college to pros. That seems to be something that sort of translates. It's the pass game and the pass rush that seems to be what takes more years to get on track and stuff. But I like I said, I don't see us dropping below middle of the league or anything like that. But I do think that we should probably expect a little bit of a drop off. But that's okay. Number 2, if we can keep it in the top 7, I think we're still going to be able to accomplish anything that we have, in our goals for this year.
Hey guys, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. Don't forget, you can also share this video to your favorite social media, and please open up that description of the video. In there you find a link to my Patreon, which is only $5 a month. Get all of my content plus Patreon specific content, and of course my merch shop right here. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Well, the run D is a very important aspect of any defense, because that makes a team one-dimensional. And in a pass-happy league that we have today, being able to stop the run means that even the pass-happy offenses have to go even more pass-happy. As we saw in the wild card game against Buffalo, they could not run the ball against the Indianapolis Colts at all, so they didn't even try. They knew walking in they weren't going to be able to, and all they did was throw the football, and it was a really close game. Came down to the last play of the game to see who won. Anthony Walker Jr., in my opinion, is probably one of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL, mainly because he knows how to read an offense. He does homework. He's able to get himself and others in position immediately, even sometimes before the snap happens, to be able to be in the right position to make a play, and that's going to hurt big time. Denico Autry was very good with the run game as well, as you mentioned, but I believe he's going to be replaced by someone who has also showed last year in his replacement in Tyquan Lewis, that I believe he will step up and be a very big plug to this run defense. The only question is, who's going to be that Sam linebacker? All right, we know that Bobby Okereke is taking over Anthony Walker Jr.'s time full-time at the mic, but the play calling, from what I'm understanding, goes to Darius Leonard, because Darius Leonard was taught by Anthony Walker Jr. how to break down plays, how to get into game film, and learn that kind of stuff. Is that going to make a big difference, having a will linebacker being your play caller on defense, as opposed to having that Mike, that middle linebacker, sitting there doing so?
I don't think so. Not whenever you consider who the will linebacker is. Darius Leonard has always been a voice of our defense. Whether Darius was, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was calling some of the defensive signals already last year, because as we discussed, Anthony was sort of losing snaps, and that's why we lost him this year, was because he wanted to be able to play more. So I don't think that this is the communication, I don't think is going to be nearly the transition part. I think it's going to be the on-field performance that is the biggest question. And Anthony Walker is a stud. And I hate the fact that he went to Cleveland. Cleveland, you guys got yourself a good one if you're listening. But in the same token, like I said, I understood it completely. I understood where we were and where he was in his career. But, man, that one just stung. I still can't. Like I said, that one's going to hurt. But I do see that the Colts aren't going to have that big transition because, like I said, Darius was already – Okereke was picking up snaps. The communication, I don't think anybody can sit on the field with Darius and not hear him.
Yeah. Well, last year the Indianapolis Colts used a lot more 3 safety, right? In there, instead of cover 2, you were seeing a lot of cover 3 looks with the Indianapolis Colts defense. And now that we have extra safety help, we went out and drafted a hitter. And we went and picked up a guy over in Pittsburgh to go along with Khari Willis, to go along with Julian Blackmon. Do you think, in your opinion, that you will see more of that cover 3 look this season, or less of it and more of your traditional cover 2 with 3 cornerbacks?
No, I'm definitely leaning more, like you said, with the extra depth that they've added and stuff. To me, it just seems like everything is leaning much more toward the cover 3, because, like you said, we don't just have safeties that can, cover out in the open space. These guys can come down and they can lay wood. They can make the offense realize, okay, this isn't going as well as we'd hoped. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that the safeties that we have picked up, I also think that we have a safety in the name of George Odom, who is a very good run stopper as well. I think that our defense is going – it just seems like with the players that they're getting that the cover 3 is just a much more better fit for the players that we have on the roster now.
Well, it's kind of funny because Seattle, if you go look at Seattle when they were, that big Legion of Boom. They did start off cover 2, but towards the end of it, when they won their Super Bowl and was becoming a presence on defense, they became more of a cover 3 defense. And that looks very similar to what Matt Eberflus is doing with the Indianapolis Colts. Loyalist, I appreciate you being here, giving me your thoughts on it. Those of you that are watching, use the comment section down here and let us know your thoughts about the run defense. Are they going to be better? Are they going to be worse this year without certain key players that we had from the 2020 season? And as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And I want you to have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.